Hey gang, Scott here. This video I guess is kind of like an Ask Me Anything QA type video, mainly because I get questions from photographers like you often, and questions are great. I love getting questions. I love talking shop with other photographers. But there are a few questions that seemed to be more prevalent or just recurring in the last couple of weeks. So I thought I'd throw together a video, share some thoughts about them, mostly about what's going on with my photography type stuff, and I thought I would put together a quick video here. So let's go with these questions. The short answer is yes, I am updating On1 Photo Raw Essentials for the 2023 edition of Photo Raw. This is a big update, 2023 edition of Photo Raw. It's bringing a lot of new features. You've seen other stuff on my channel talking all about them a lot recently, honestly, because it is a big change. I don't have an ETA or pricing figured out yet for the new ebook. I am aiming to finish it and make it available before the end of the calendar year. The ebook by then for sure, and then the print edition that I'll do through Amazon. That might linger, a couple of weeks. There's always a little more work that goes into having a book that's done for print. Once it's done, it's done. You can't go back and just tweak an electronic book and send everybody a short update to fix a typo or things like that. But that's the story with On1 Photo Raw Essentials. Yes, I am working on an update, and that might also explain my lower number of videos on YouTube, because I'm a one-person show. So when I focus on one thing, other things take a little bit of a backseat. I am still out in the field capturing photos. I've just been doing less of those visits. Some of that because of the heat wave, some of that because of other responsibilities outside of photography. I talked a bit about that on one of my recent podcast episodes, that I'm just getting back out into the field again now that some of that has settled down, and quite honestly some of the temperature has settled down. But also that I realized I needed to do more photo outings, that I wasn't bringing all the filming equipment. And what happens is I'll get so hung up on capturing all of the behind the scenes stuff that I don't capture the photos, and I need to find a better balance there. So when I do get those opportunities to go out with the camera in the field, some of those I take to be like just me time. And I don't mean to be selfish, but there's the artist in all of us that we need to feed. So that's why there's been less in the field type videos here. I do have some footage left over from one of the outings I haven't put together yet. But we'll see if that comes together, or is time spent more on the previously mentioned book. Yes, I actually do have a podcast. It's called the Stop Down Photography Podcast, and its aim really is to, for the most part, talk more about the artistry of photography, like why do we do things, motivation, inspiration, those types of things. A lot of stuff on YouTube here is about the post-processing, maybe some about the field work, a little bit about gear. I wanted to do something a little bit different with the podcast and get back to the roots of, why did we pick up a camera in the first place? It's over 100 episodes now, so it's going strong. I try to put up 2 episodes each month. That's about my run rate, but it's on average there. But yeah, if you're interested in having a listen, it is the Stop Down Photography Podcast. It's everywhere that you get your podcasts. Workshops. I love doing workshops, but workshops do take a lot of energy to plan and to execute the way that I like to do so. I put a lot of effort into the upfront planning for a workshop. Almost every one of my workshops is like a year in the making, because not only do I want to know the location thoroughly, but I want to know the location at roughly the same time of year that the workshop goes there. So, I'll scout a place a year in advance, start thinking about all the logistics that go along with just, you have a group of photographers, it's easy enough to pick the photo spots, but where are you going to eat? Where are you going to sleep? How are you going to get from point A to point B? Is there parking? All those other things. Permits. Insurance, and all the businessy type stuff. So those types of things take the time. And for 2022, I knew this was going to be a year where I wouldn't have the amount of time to dedicate to hosting more workshops. It's just a reality of what's currently going on and surrounding outside of my photography, outside of my photographic life. Did the one workshop in May of this year, a lot of fun. I do have plans for workshops in 2023, and those have been posted for a while now. Some of those are sold out, other ones are still available. If you're interested in workshops, the best place is the workshops page on my website, and sign up for my newsletter, because folks that are subscribing to my newsletter hear about the workshops first before they get advertised publicly. But that's the story with workshops. 2022 is mostly an off year, just the one. 2023 will certainly be switched on, and I'm hoping to scout some places next year for 2024. I'm a Mac user. That's the systems that I know. Windows machines are fine as well. It really is just your preference. I get this question about, what machine am I using? Most often in relation to how the software is running when I'm doing videos on YouTube and things are moving along, I guess seemingly well. I'm just looking at the screen here for these specs. I mean, my machine is actually going on 5 years old, so it's not a new fastest thing on the market. The processors are strong but not the best. I do bias toward paying for memory, both RAM as well as video memory, so getting a strong graphics card. I've got 64 gig of RAM in this machine. That is overkill for photo processing up front. I do a lot of video editing, obviously, and I'll have multiple applications open at once, so I give myself that headroom. But if you're doing you're still photo editing, most software says minimum required is 8 gigabyte. You want more than that. You want at least 16. 32, in my opinion, is a good place to be. And then a graphics card with a reasonable high number of VRAM, as it's called. This one I have here, it has 16 gigabytes of video memory, which means as things are thrown over to the GPU, that GPU has space to work on things. And then just surrounding things what's the disks? Are the disks connected? Are they solid state? Are they fast? Are they slow? Mine are reasonable. They're Thunderbolt, so they have a pretty good bandwidth, but it's spinning disks because the size I need. I have 20 terabyte disks. I can't afford 20 terabytes of solid state right now. That's an expensive disk system, but that's the system I have. It's not top of the line, but I do invest the money into the memory. I think is really where I put most of it. And I maybe to close with, if you're getting a new machine, it's like buy once, cry once. Try to get the best machine with the budget you have. I'll invest more in memory than CPU, but it will be a pretty big ticket item. Then I can try to get 4 or years out of it, give or take, and I'm doing pretty good on this iMac. But I figure one more year it'll be time to upgrade again. So that's the story of my machine. Let me wrap this up by just saying, if this was interesting to you, then let me know that, and maybe I'll sprinkle more of these in here. And if you do have a question you want to see in an Ask Me Anything type video, drop it down below. I'll put together a set, and if there's a few that kind of bubble to the top of these are happening all the time. People are really curious about this. Great, put a video together. Or if there's a very intriguing question that makes me think, heck, that might even turn into a podcast episode, because those ones that warrant a longer form discussion, I like those for the podcast. That's going to do it. Keep having fun, and until next time, my name's Scott Davenport.